This is WPTV, William Patterson Television.
Well, welcome back to the desk. The NBA season is reaching its peak, and here to break down everything on the hardwood is Andrew Ballistreri, Bijan Pulley, Phritz Napoleon, and Rico Alcazar. You know, guys, the All-Star starters have been announced for this year's All-Star game. And of course, as always, there's been some snubs. Bijan, we'll start with you. Who's the biggest snub from the All-Star starters?
Man, the biggest snub, in my opinion, is Donovan Mitchell from the Cavs. He's been incredible this season, averaging 28.2 points per game, 6.4 assists per game, almost 2 steals a game, while shooting almost 47% from the field. I don't know how he didn't make an All-Star starter. He's been incredible over this season, especially over the stretch from December 16th to January 26th, where Garland and Mobley were both out of the lineup, leading the Cavs to a 17-4 record, which was the best in the NBA. Now the Cavs are the 4 seed, looking like they're going to lock up a top 4 seed.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell having a great season. I mean, the All-Star starters. It's such a mouthful. It's every year we see just egregious snubs. But Rico, we'll go on to you. Who's your biggest snub?
You know, he may not be the most popular player out there, but I got Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings. They're the 5th seed. They got 0 All-Stars. This season, Sabonis is averaging 19.9 points per game, 13 rebounds a game, and then 8 assists, shooting 61.6% from the field. Sabonis, you can argue that, hey, look, LeBron, of course, KD is going to make it, but I think you got to put this guy in because he's nearly averaging a triple-double, Marc.
Yeah, I mean, Sabonis having a great year, kind of going, unsung. Was like an unsung hero last year for that, kind of that miraculous.
Before he got stomped in the chest by.
Well, yeah, but just for that Kings team, light the beam. What happened to that? Are they still lighting the beam?
No, they still light the beam.
Okay,
Still light it.
Good. But Bally, moving over to you. I feel like I know who you're gonna pick.
Yeah.
You're you.
Yeah.
Who's your biggest snub?
There's one player that sticks out like a sore thumb, and that is Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. This man has been an absolute superstar this season, and he's a real MVP candidate. Taking a look at his stats, averaging about 27 points per game, 6.5 assists per game, as well as shooting 48% from the field and 42% from 3. This guy, what he's doing for the Knicks is insane. He's going to go down with the legends like Patrick Ewing, Clyde Frazier, Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, sure. And Damian Lillard's starting over him, which I don't agree with. Brunson's got him beat in just about every single category. My favorite one, Jalen Brunson has a better three-point percentage than Damian Lillard has a field goal percentage. I think that should tell the entire story.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson been such a big catalyst for the Knicks, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But, just really impressed with what he's been able to do. He was great last season, took another step this year. But Fritz,
superstar.
Yeah, absolutely. Fritz, close us out for this one. Who's your biggest All-Star snub?
I'm gonna go with the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. Look, he's the best player for the best team in the West right now. Take a look at his stats, averaging around 25.5 points per game, 5 assists per game, shooting 46% from the field and 38% from the three-point line. Look, he's really emerged as that leader for them, allowing Karl Anthony Towns to, slide into that secondary role, which I've always thought that he was a lot better in. He's spearheading a great defensive team and giving them offense when they need it. I think that they're going to make a pretty good playoff run. Don't know if we're going to see them in championship talks, but definitely great to see Minnesota in that number 1 position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Anthony Edwards is probably the main reason that they've been able to be so good this year. But another team that's been really good this year, especially recently in the month of January, the New York Knicks, Andrew Ballistreri's New York Knicks, finished with a franchise record 14 wins in January. But before we go to you, we're going to start with Rico. What's been the biggest reason for the Knicks' success?
Well, the biggest reason for the Knicks' success is really the overall team play. The team record, 14-2 points per game. They're averaging 115.4 points per game. They're allowing 100 points per game. And shooting from the field, the Knicks are 47.9% from the field. It's been really a great team effort as a whole for the New York Knicks this year.
Yeah, I mean, Spike Lee is a big reason why.
Spike Lee,
I mean, he shows up to the games, they ball out. But Rico, going back to you, is there like a specific thing that you think has been able to elevate the Knicks in January?
I really like Donte DiVincenzo. Donte DiVincenzo in 2024 is putting up 15.9 points per game, shooting 42% from the field and 38% from 3. Media begged for Derek White to make the All-Star game. Donte DiVincenzo is doing the same exact thing here in New York, and the Knicks' depth as a whole has been really great, helping them win 14-2 record this whole entire year.
Absolutely, been great. Bally, I mean, I want to just give you the floor. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time. But go ahead. What do you think has made the Knicks so good?
All I need to do is I need to thank the God that is Leon Rose for giving us this wonderful man in OG Anunoby, who has been absolutely phenomenal through his first 14 games until he got injured. But it's okay. He'll be back. He's averaging about 15 points. He's shooting 50% from the field, 40% from deep. craziest stat I've ever seen in my life. In his 14 games with the Knicks, he's got a plus-minus of 252. That's the best of all time, and anywhere from 2 games to 14 games into a season. He's been phenomenal for the Knicks.
Absolutely. I mean, I liked that trade when it happened. I did.
Yeah.
I liked what they gave up. I liked what they got back. Fritz, we'll move on to you. What do you think has been the reason the Knicks were so good in January?
Yeah, I just think that they've really found their identity. After trading away R.J. Barrett, they've really committed to Jalen Brunson being that leader and that offensive spark. And, you know, they just rounded around being a nice, tough, hard-nosed defense around Tom Thibodeau. So I think that adding along with, you know, the trade with OG Anunoby, definitely just giving them a steady offensive push to get them to the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Knicks, there's only so much you could say, but Bijan, rounded out here, what do you think has been so good for the Knicks?
And I got to go with their defense. In the month of January, the Knicks had a defensive rating that had the best defensive rating in the NBA with a defensive rating of 105.9.
Very good. Very good.
Which is a 16.3 improvement compared to the defensive rating in the first 3 months of the season, having a 122.2 defensive rating. OG's averaging 1.8 steals per game. Hartenstein's averaging 1.7, which both ranks them in the top 10 in the month of January. OG and Anunoby's elevated them from an average defense to the best defense in the league.
Yeah, and he's always been a great defender, was great with Toronto, but now he's here in New York. Go New York, go New York, go. Woo. Having a great season. But moving on, the trade deadline is less than a week away, and there's a lot of contenders looking to add pieces before their playoff push. Steven Adams of the Grizzlies, my Grizzlies, already got traded, but Andrew Ballistreri, we'll go over to you. Who do you think gets dealt at the deadline?
I got to go with Bulls forward DeMar DeRozan, who's having a pretty solid season at, you know, an older age now as we take a look at his stats, averaging about 22 points per game this season with 5.3 assists, shooting about 47% from the field and 33% from deep. And, you know, like teammate, you know, Zach LaVine, they've been in trade talks, both of them, forever, and it seems like he finally might get moved to a contender. You know, I've seen talks him going to Brooklyn, maybe Philly, Golden State, and, you know, of course the Lakers because they're in every single trade talk. But, you know, I definitely think he should be on a contender. He could definitely benefit a contender, and we'll see what happens in the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Just playing, like, you can have him as a consistent starter. He shouldn't be one of your main options.
Yeah. You know, but come playoff time, he's called DeMar DeFrozen.
This is true, but that's as the number one option. But Fritz, we'll move over to you. Who do you think is getting moved?
Yeah, one person I think is going to get moved is DeJounte Murray from the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, look, they're just stuck on mid, okay? I don't know what's going on with them. But he's averaging 21.5 points per game, 5.2 assists per game, 47% from the field, and 38 from three. Look, the pairing between him and Trae Young just has not worked out. It hasn't meshed well. They're not going anywhere. So I think that him going to another team where he can be the lead guard and really just take force of that offense would be great. Hearing talks about him going to the Lakers, I think that's dumb. He can't play off the ball from LeBron James, so get that out of here. But, you know, there's a lot. He's definitely a valuable piece and would definitely make a great addition to a team trying to make a deep playoff push. So please, get him out of Atlanta. Save him, please.
Yeah, I would imagine the idea when the Hawks traded for him was to pair Trae Young, who's been known to be a little lackluster in defense, with a guy who has been known for his defense in DeJounte Murray, but just hasn't worked out. Might see him moved, but Bijan, moving over to you. He mentioned your Lakers. Anyone from there, or are you going to go a different direction?
I'm going with a different direction. Who needs to talk about the Lakers again? But the player that I think I get dealt at the deadline is Kyle Kuzma. This season, he's averaging 22 points per game, and he is averaging 6.5 rebounds per game while shooting 45.7% from the field and 33% from deep. Kuzma, he's in Washington. That team is, you know, bad.
Very bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
But I think he can contribute to a contender or a legit team that's legit playoff team that's trying to be a contender. And that team that I can see him going to is the Sacramento Kings. They were in talks for Pascal Siakam before he got traded to the Pacers. Very serious talk.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, it was over a month and a half ago. Wow. But also a report came out from The Athletic saying the Wizards are not demanding 2 first-round picks, which was the consensus around league circles. If you're the Wizards, you don't say that to the media unless you're like, you know, 2 first-round picks. We wasn't going to do that. You know, 1 first-round pick's enough. You know, come get him.
Yeah, I mean, Kuzma, it's interesting. He's had an interesting career, kind of redeeming himself in Washington, being able to kind of take over games a little more. You know, he was in L.A. He's doing better.
He's doing better.
Rico, moving on to you. Who do you think gets dealt?
You know, the Hornets have already started blowing it up. I got P.J. Washington. Recently, he signed a 3-year, $46 million contract. He's averaging 13.8 points per game, 5.1 rebounds. He's shooting 45.3% from the field and 34.2% from the three-point line. You know, P.J. Washington, a lot of contenders want him. He's the most ideal stretch power forward in the league right now. The Hornets, they've already said that they want to like rebuild around Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. They already got rid of Terry Rozier. You can get rid of PJ Washington, and they can also get rid of number 0 on the Hornets too. He was on an expiring contract, but we won't talk about it.
Yeah, we won't talk about it.
Goodbye.
PJ Washington
Good
sounds
riddance.
like a Laker to me.
Oh gosh.
They got no one to give up.
Does everyone sound like a Laker to you?
Not everyone. Not DeJounte Murray.
No, he's a Laker. DJ Augustine, bring him back.
Oh, wow.
LA, come on.
Well, look,
We want DJ Augustine back, please.
I don't know who's
you
asking.
want him for your sons that you think?
No, my Phoenix Suns. I think PJ Washington would be perfect for them, but they don't got anybody to trade. We're not trading Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen is.
But you know,
No.
there's plenty of great teams in the NBA this season. It's never too early to make some finals predictions. Fritz, we'll start with you. What are the 2 teams you think you're going to see in the finals?
One of the 2 teams that I think is gonna.
You're right there.
I'm good, man. A little tongue-tied, but look,
happens.
I think it's gonna be the Celtics and the Nuggets. I think Kristaps Porzingis is that piece that brings them over the hump in the Eastern Conference, and Drew Holiday as well. I just think that they're loaded. And on the Western Conference side, I think the Nuggets are gonna get right back to that position. Look, Jokic is out of his mind. It's gonna take a lot to take them out of it. So I think that's gonna be the matchup.
Absolutely. Bijan, we'll move over to you. Your 2 teams for the finals.
I gotta agree with Phritz. Celtics versus Nuggets. I mean, obviously the Celtics are the favorites out east, even though they lost to the Lakers last night. I just have to bring it up. But the Celtics look like clearly the best team in the NBA. Porzingis, as Fritz mentioned, is that missing piece, gives them that dimension in their offense they didn't have in this Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown era, which is mid-range scoring and the ability to score out the post. And the Nuggets, they just won the championship last year, retained their core. Even though they lost Bruce Brown, you got young role players stepping up like Peyton Watson, Christian Brown as well. So I think these.
Andre Jordan.
I wasn't going to say all that. But these 2 teams are, I think, head and shoulders above the rest of the league. And I think we're going to see them in the finals, which is probably, in my opinion, going to go 7 games.
Oh, I mean, that'd be fun to watch, I will say. That'd be very, very fun to watch. Rico, we'll move over to you. I
It would
mean,
not be fun to watch. You want to watch Luke Cornett go up against Jokic?
you know what? I do.
I do.
But Rico, we'll move on to you. I mean, I feel like I know one answer, but
No.
who's your 2 teams?
Come on, move out of the way. The Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks are going back to the NBA Finals this year. They're going to get Book, KD, and Beal going up against Giannis, Lillard, and Chris Middleton. You know, he's mid. And
All 10.
come on.
Oh, God.
God.
But, you know, the Suns and Bucks, these are going to be the 2 most healthy teams. It really comes down to health. I think Giannis' experience will help them lead him back, going back to the finals. And then Book and KD. KD's on a redemption arc, and he really wants to win that other championship without Curry.
Absolutely. I mean, it'd be nice to prove. I mean, I'm not the biggest Suns fan as a Grizzlies fan. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Still tongue-tied? Nah. Anyway, Andrew, close us out. What is your finals matchup?
I'm not going to be biased here and say the Knicks. I swear I won't.
Why not?
I know, I'm not going to, I don't want to, count my chickens
Yeah,
before they hatch.
That is so unlike you.
But I will say the Celtics and the Clippers will be in the finals. And I know the Clippers is a very surprising pick because, they're known choke artists. And I know we laughed at them those first 10 or so games when they had James Harden. But they completely flipped the script on us.
did.
They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're sitting at 3rd in the East, and they look legit. So, PG, Kawhi, both healthy. They're top 10 in offense and defense. They're number 1 in three-point percentage. Harden's come back to his own. He's shooting 40% from deep. I don't know why the Clippers can't make it this year.
I don't see why not either. I'm a big Paul George and Kawhi fan. Would love to see them win it
Absolutely.
at the end of the day.
I don't know about all that.
No love for the
I'd
Grizzlies
bug it.
this year?
Paul
What?
George needs
No love for the Grizzlies this year?
It's over. It's
They can
a
make
wash.
it.
Listen,
They can go on a 47 win.
As long as the Suns aren't there, I'm happy.
But look, we got to wrap this up. With the NBA season heating up, the big game is coming up in the football world, and Fritz and the guys will break everything down on the gridiron next on Sports Desk.